closed. Not everybody gets a 12-month program. People are going to be looking for more help.
So you're gonna start anytime from now.
All right, I am ready. Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Melissa, and I will be running tonight's workshop on using behavioral momentum. Welcome so much to the presentation. First off, I want to let you all know that everyone who attends this evening will be receiving a copy of the guide, the survival guide. And everyone who remains through the question and answer period will be entered in a raffle where you can win a 30-minute one-on-one session with the coach of your choice. So that is a fantastic prize. And so far, everyone who has won has really enjoyed it, and it's been very helpful for them. So good luck to you guys this evening. As always, I will be presenting on a topic, and then following the presentation, I will open it for live questions. So please hang in there and I will answer as many questions as I can. So without further ado, let me just move this little box out of my way here. Without further ado, let's get started with our presentation on behavioral momentum. So what is behavioral momentum? Behavioral momentum is a really great interventional strategy, and it's a way to get a child who hasn't done something before to do something that they haven't done before, or a child that is not complying with a direction to get them to comply. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy, and then we'll go a little bit more into that. Using behavioral momentum can be fun for both you and your child. It's meant to take what would otherwise have been a negative or challenging interaction and turn it into a positive one for the both of you. The idea behind this concept is to build momentum by introducing 3 to 5 easy, otherwise known as low effort, tasks before presenting a harder but necessary request. So this is really important to understand. We want to get momentum going by asking your child to do 3 to 5 easy tasks that don't require a lot of effort on your child's part. So it's things that they are capable of doing. That's not going to be difficult for them. It's not introducing a brand new skill at this point in time. This is introducing 3 to 5 tasks that your child can do really easily and quickly in order to gain that momentum, which is what we're looking for. Okay, behavioral momentum increases motivation, and it gives your child many opportunities to be successful by providing a series of quick and easy compliance tasks coupled with positive reinforcement before presenting a more challenging task. So you present 3 to 5 easy tasks immediately followed by a reward, praise, or token, or a sticker for each one. Then you present a more difficult task followed by a highly preferred reinforcer. So as an example, clap your hands, your child claps. Good job. What's your name? They tell you. High five. Count to 3. They do that. Awesome. Then you say, turn off the computer. Okay, as an example. So that's the more difficult, challenging task. But first, we've gotten momentum by your child being reinforced for doing 3, 4, 5, 6 easy, low effort things in a row that gains that momentum and that momentum of reinforcement as well, that praise, that good job, that high five from you for complying to those directives. Or motor imitations, you could say, do this and model clapping your hands, and then say, touch your nose, jump up and down, turn around. What's your name? Count to 3, and then pick that up off the floor. Okay, so 3 to 5 easy, low effort tasks than one harder or increased task that takes increased effort. With behavioral momentum, it approaches the problem from the child's perspective. Okay, so instead of demanding that the child immediately do what you ask, which is often met with resistance, behavioral momentum gets the child used to following directions before he or she is asked to do something less preferred. This can be more enjoyable for the learner than immediately demanding compliance of a non-preferred demand. So first, I'm going to ask you to do something that's easy, that you don't mind doing. And I'm going to ask you to do a couple of those things. And you're going to get on this role of doing those things before I ask you to do something that you're not as likely to do, that's not as much fun, that's something that you don't enjoy as much, or that's a little bit harder than the tasks I just presented. Behavioral again, let me just move this out of the way here. Hold on one second. Behavioral momentum moves the child's attention away from what he or she might have been doing and puts it on you, but in a way that's much less jarring than immediately complying with a demand. Okay, so the child is doing something else, or is in another state of mind, or might be resistant in the moment because they can tell you're just about getting ready to ask them to do something. They can tell, right? And already their back is getting up. They're already getting their back up because they don't want to stop doing whatever it is that they're doing. They don't want to do whatever it is you're about to ask them to do. So you start to ask them some easy, fun, low effort things to do first. They get a lot of praise and reinforcement from you. And then you're almost sneaking in the actual request on the tail end. Oops. So we build on positive interactions. Behavioral momentum builds on your child's behavior by beginning with a positive interaction that is more likely to be received well by your child. As you and your child continue these positive interactions, momentum builds and resistance decreases. As your child anticipates the next request, he or she begins to expect something that they want to do, or at least is easy to do. The positive interactions are like a warm-up, easing your child into accepting the more challenging request. So let's talk about the steps for using behavioral momentum. Step 1. You want to identify high and low probability behaviors. Low probability behaviors, or low P for probability, are those that your child is less likely to comply with. A low probability of doing those behaviors. High P, or high probability behaviors, are those that your child finds easy and even fun, but are also quick to complete, so momentum builds. Okay, so low P, there's a low probability that your child wants to or can do this. High P, high probability that your child will do that behavior, can do that behavior, and wants to do that behavior. Step 2, once you have identified the high probability and low probability behaviors, you want to ask your child to perform an easy task, a high probability behavior. Remember, that means there's a high probability your child will do it. This should be something your child is comfortable doing, even something your child likes doing, but it should be easy and quick. Step 3, ask your child to perform a different easy task, another high P behavior, a high probability that your child will do this behavior as well. Again, it should be something easy and or fun for your child to do. Try to avoid repeating the same demand multiple times, which is why it can be helpful to identify a list of these behaviors in advance. Then you want to repeat asking the child to complete easy tasks until you feel he or she is likely to comply with your more difficult or less preferred request. It might be after 3 different high P requests. It might be after 4. It might be after 6. You'll know once your child is easily and quickly complying with the high probability requests one after the other. Once you feel that momentum is building and you get a few really good rapid fire compliance in a row, then you might feel that it's time to throw in the low probability request. Depending on how resistant your child is to performing the non-preferred task, you may want to have him or her complete at least 3 to 5 or more of the easy tasks. So think of it this way: the more difficult the behavior is, or the less likely your child wants to or can do the behavior you're going to ask them to do at the end. Think about that like a steep hill. The harder it is for your child, the steeper and larger the hill. As with anything, the steeper and larger the hill, the more momentum you need to build in order to get up and over that hill and then down the other side, okay? So if it's a nice, easy little hill, you might only need 3 behaviors in a row to get enough momentum to get your child over that hump to do the behavior that they don't really want to do or that they've never done before. If it's a more challenging task, it's a bigger, steeper hill, you need more momentum, so you might need to do 5 or 6. If it's a really difficult or non-preferred task, you might need to do 8 or 9 before your child gets enough momentum to get up the steep and large hill. Once you feel he or she is ready, then it's time for that bigger challenge. Step 5 is asking your child to complete the original less preferred task, that low probability behavior that he or she otherwise may have resisted. So let's take a look at this concept a little bit more, okay?
To be compliant with. Behavioral momentum as an intervention typically looks like 3 or 4 high probability requests preceding 1 low probability request. A high probability request is something that the individual is likely to comply with. It does not have to be a demand that is necessarily easy for the learner, but it usually is a prompt for a low effort mastered response. For example,
oh, good job, good job, you did.
You would issue 3 or 4 of those requests. The learner demonstrates compliance with each of them, and then you would issue the low probability request. You do not want too much time between the high probability requests and the low probability requests. You are hoping to make the most of the momentum of the compliant responses. So a brief inner response time between requests is crucial in order to capitalize on the high P requests functioning as discriminative stimuli for previously reinforced behaviors. All right, so one thing that's important to be compliant with. Behavioral momentum as an intervention typically
stop
looks
that.
like 3 or 4 high probability.
Okay, now let's take a look at this clip.
Showing up on the first page of Google might not be the best for everyone, but for business owners.
Hi, it's Anissa from Behavior Tribe, and I'm going to talk to you today about behavior momentum. So if you think that your little one may be experiencing escape maintain behavior, one suggestion that you can implement is behavior momentum. So that's basically asking your little one any questions or requests that you think that they could easily follow through on. Now, it could be, what's your name? How old are you? Jump up and down. Anything that you think that could build any momentum or confidence. After they follow through with that, then you go into that request that may be a little bit more challenging, something that they're showing some non-compliance on. So it could be like, hey, why don't you go clean up the toys now? This will help build their confidence. And once you go into that low key request or that challenging request, then they should easily be able to follow through on that. And then you have some gain compliance and everyone's a lot happier at that point. So try that, get back to me, and I hope everyone's a lot happier.
Okay, now let's take a look at this clip.
As I'm in the midst of applying for residency right now, wish me luck, Grammarly has again been a lifesaver with my application and helping me write my personal statement.
Hey everybody, I'm Katherine Johnson from Learn Behavioral. We're developing new videos each week of ways parents can use positive behavioral supports to manage these long coronavirus days we're spending at home with our kids. Today, we're going to talk about behavioral momentum. This is one of my favorite positive behavioral supports to teach parents because you can use it in so many different circumstances and with children of any age and almost any ability level. The basic format of behavioral momentum is that you instruct the child to do a series of things that they're likely to do for things for which they don't need extra motivation. And then at the end of the series of instructions, you give them the instruction for the target behavior, thing that's difficult to motivate them to do. So here's some important things to remember. Number one, use this for existing skills. Only use this to target skills your child can already do. This is something that will help you motivate your child to do something, but you wouldn't use this to teach them a brand new skill. Two,
Here, I really just want you to see the example of it.
you ready? Okay. Touch your head. Yay! Do that. Nice. Your belly. You got it. Do that. Awesome. Where are your knees? Nice job, you. Stick out your tongue. You did it. Stick a sticker. That's hard. Good job. You did it. Nice. So proud of you.
Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so you could see in that clip how the instructor initially gave a variety of different instructions that the little girl was able to do quickly and easily before they presented the more difficult instruction, which was at the very end. And then the child got more reinforcement for doing that, but along the way got praise so that she knew she was doing what the instructor wanted her to do and got that positive feedback. Let's talk about some tips for making behavioral momentum effective. First, you have to make sure that the high probability demands, again, the demands that it's most likely that your child will comply with or can do, you want to make sure that they're stated, not asked. Touch your nose, not do you want to touch your nose? Okay, clap your hands or do this, not can you do this? You want to make sure that those high probability demands are given when you're in close proximity to your child and have your child's attention. As you saw in the video, they were close. The teacher was at the child's level. They were only a short distance apart from each other. The child was attending. In the first video with the male teacher and the little girl, they were again on the same level. He had her attention and then provided those directives. You want to deliver it using clear language. Again, touch nose or touch your nose, not I want you to touch your nose right now. Okay, easy, clear, short, and sweet. You want to give them in rapid succession. As you saw, as soon as the child follows the first directive, then you give the next directive. That way you're building momentum. You don't want a lot of time between the child complying with one directive and you providing the next. Otherwise, you're losing that momentum and you're not going to get up over that hill. And you want to make sure that the behavior is that the high probability requests are reinforced, even if it's just with your praise, because you want to keep it again quick and easy. You want it to be fun, so you want it to be engaging and fun with you. So many times your praise and enthusiastic praise is enough of a reinforcer for those high probability requests. As they mentioned in one of the videos we just showed you, it's those high probability requests are easy, they're in your child's repertoire, and they're usually behaviors that your child doesn't need a lot of external motivation to do. like we've discussed in other presentations, reinforcement always has to be proportional to the effort it takes to do the behavior. We're asking your child to do very low effort things at the beginning of behavioral momentum. So again, the reinforcer can be praise, as opposed to pulling out the big guns and giving their most highly preferred reinforcer. You want to save that for when they actually comply with the last directive, which is the low probability request that you really wanted them to do in the first place. So it's really helpful to choose your high probability requests in advance. I found that the hardest part about training people to use behavioral momentum is teaching them how to come up with a series of easy, high probability requests on the spot. Now, remember, we don't want to repeat if we don't have to, and we don't want to repeat often if we do have to. So think about coming up with a dozen quick, rapid-fire directives or imitations that your child can follow right now without repeating yourself more than once. You have to really think about it after a couple, right? So one of the things that you can do, you can take basic skill topics and turn them into a set of cue cards to use in the moment. So as an example, with the graphic that's on the screen right now, for the purple cards, it's a variety of directives. So that's the basic skill topic, is following single step directives. And then on each one of those cards, one says stomp your feet, one says touch your nose, one says clap your hands, one says jump up and down, one says spin around, one says touch your head, one says wave hello. So it's a variety of single step directives that your child has already demonstrated the capability to do easily. Okay, so now you can write each one of these down. They're not necessarily for you to show your child as much as they are to prompt you. So you may or may not have a visual on them. You might present the card and show your child, but only if your child can quickly and easily follow that visual. Otherwise, it's just going to slow things down. Remember, this is more a prompt for you, so you can deliver the easy directives for your child to follow. The ones in yellow are a variety of pictures for your child to tact or label. So one is a tree, one is a dog, one is a spoon, one is a car, one is a horse, one is a cat, one is a cup. And again, they're all together, all with a yellow border, so they're easy to kind of sort together and grab as needed. The blue border ones, the royal blue border ones, are dots, one-to-one correspondence for this child from 1 to 5. They could look at that card and tell you immediately how many dots were on that card. If that's a skill that your child is fluent at, then great. If your child is better with number recognition, you can make a variety of cards with numbers on them. If that's not a skill that your child is really fluent at yet, then don't include that in your set of materials that you want to prepare in advance. The ones with the pink borders are letters. The ones with the gray borders are questions that this particular child can answer easily. There's a set of colors. There's a set of intraverbal responses, which are like fill in the blanks. So if you say twinkle, twinkle little, the child will say star. If you say Humpty Dumpty sat on a, they'll say wall. The purple ones are shapes, and the other blue ones are like the cornflower blue ones are motor imitations, where the instructor would say, do this, and then model a motor movement, like do this while you're shaking your head for the child to imitate. So you can put together these cards, you can put them all together on individual key rings, and that way, if you need to grab a set of them to practice some behavioral momentum with your child, they're right there at your disposal, and you don't have to worry about thinking of them in advance. If it's easier for you to just write out a list and have lists for each set of skills that you want to use for high probability requests for your child, that's fine as well. Whatever works for you is fine. The whole point is to just put it together in advance. In this example, they put it on a key ring and threw it on like a little flexible armband. So when they knew that they were going to have to transition their child from an activity that they were engaged in, like being on the iPad, and they knew they were going to have to now get them to do something different that they didn't necessarily want to do, they might pull out some of these cards before they start asking them to transition. They might throw out some of these things to them. Or if they're about to ask them to clean up some toys, or they're about to ask them to get ready for a bath, or whatever it might happen to be. The benefits of using behavioral momentum is that it will also minimize you as becoming an aversive stimulus. Now, an aversive stimulus is just something that we learn to avoid or escape from over time because it's associated with unpleasantness. It's kind of the way for some people going to the dentist is an aversive stimulus. Just thinking about going to the dentist makes some people get very uncomfortable and very upset and very anxious, even though they're not actually going to the dentist, they're just thinking about it, right? Because when they've gone to the dentist in the past, it's been uncomfortable or painful, it hasn't been pleasant, so now they try to escape or avoid it as much as possible. If your child knows that every time you approach them and squat down to their level, it's to give them a demand, particularly a demand they don't really want to follow, it won't be long before they start running or walking off when you approach. And you might see this, like your child might know your body language when you're about to come and tell them to do something they don't want to do. And in response to that, they might already try to start escaping or avoiding that demand. By using behavioral momentum, your approach gets associated with good things, compliments, praise, high fives, tickles, easy demands, things that it's not unpleasant to do. So again, your approach isn't paired with something negative, something aversive, or something that your child just does not prefer to do. Your approach is now paired with something positive and fun and something easy for your child to do. So that way they get used to, oh, when mom or dad or who grandma or grandpa approach, it doesn't mean they're going to ask me to do something difficult. It probably means they're going to ask me to do something fun. Okay, that's the idea behind it. Now, when do we use behavioral momentum? Well, you can't use behavioral momentum every single time you need your child to comply, but it is a great intervention for easing transitions from something preferred to something less preferred. So something that your child already wants to do to something that your child does not want to do as much. Behavioral momentum is a really good strategy for that. Unexpected requests. So if you now have to suddenly ask your child to do something out of the blue, it's great to use behavioral momentum because initially you're going to start with easy things. It might still be out of the blue, but they're easy, maybe fun things for your child to do before the unexpected actual request comes up. It's really good to use behavioral momentum for behaviors that your child typically attempts to escape or avoid. So again, before it's time to get undressed and get into the bath, or put on their shoes, or brush their teeth. Once you get comfortable with behavioral momentum, you'll see the opportunities to use it more and more. With practice, behavioral momentum should take no more than a few seconds to a minute, making it much faster and more efficient than arguing or trying to coerce or bargain with your child into the behavior with which they don't want to comply. So think about how much time it might take to try and get you to bargain with your child, or reason with your child, or fight with your child, or muscle your child through something they don't want to do. With practice, you can do it in under a minute, and it won't be so aversive for your child or for you. What if the child doesn't comply? Well, first you want to consider, were the high probability demands easy for your child, or were they more difficult for them to do than you thought? Were they given in rapid succession? So you were able to actually build momentum to get over that hypothetical hill we discussed earlier? Were there enough high P demands given to build enough momentum to get over that hill, depending on the size of the hill, based on how difficult the behavior is? As I mentioned earlier, if it's a surprise request, but it's not necessarily something that your child doesn't like to do, that's a small hill. So you might only need a couple of high probability requests to get them over a smaller hill. Asking them to do something that they don't like to do is a much bigger hill. So you need to build up more momentum to get up and over a bigger or steeper hill. The more difficult or more non-preferred what you're asking them to do is, that the more difficult or non-preferred the low P behavior is, think of that as a higher and steeper hill. Okay, so the higher and steeper the hill, the more momentum you need to get over it. So for a small hill, you might only need 3 or 4 high P requests before you give that low P request. But for a very non-preferred behavior, you might need 7, 8, or 9 high P requests before you present the low P request. Did you reinforce after your child complied with the high P responses? Or did you just go from clap your hands, touch your nose, do this, jump up and down, spin around without doing that good job in between? All right, that's the way. High five, way to go, nice going. So there's a big difference in that. That could be why your child isn't complying with the high P requests. Did you have your child's attention? Again, it's very important to make sure your child is attending to you before you start presenting demands for your child. Otherwise, it's kind of not their fault that they're not complying, because they weren't paying attention. They may not have even really heard the request. And did your child understand the low P demand? So the demand that came at the end, the one that's the demand you really wanted them to do in the first place, did they truly understand what it was? Was it clear and simple enough? And was it something that they understood what to do? So don't give up, because it can be complicated to use behavioral momentum and to increase compliance with your child. Now, one of the reasons why we go over this particular instructional strategy is because not only can it be used for compliance-based issues, but this is a strategy that we often use to get a nonverbal child to start imitating vocal verbal behavior for the first time. So the first step would be to develop some high P requests with your child, particularly motor imitation, gross motor, fine motor, oral motor, and directions, okay? Because your child needs to be able to imitate and follow a direction in order to imitate speech for the first time. So first, you have to develop your child being able to follow some simple one-step directives, to be able to imitate some simple one-step motor movements. Once your child can, and those motor movements should be both big gross motor movements, so like putting their arms up, clapping their hands, jumping up and down, big gross motor movements. It should also include some fine motor movements, like touching their index fingers together, or making like the itsy bitsy spider movement with their thumb and their index finger kind of going over each other, or using like a pincer grip. Those are fine motor behaviors. They're smaller, more discrete behaviors that require smaller motor movements. Maybe even some oral motor movements, which include movements of the face, mouth, and tongue. So imitating opening and closing your mouth, imitating sticking out your tongue, imitating opening and closing your mouth in rapid succession, imitating blowing out air, imitating sucking in air. Those would be examples of oral motor movements that you could model, that your child could learn to imitate. Once your child has learned to follow some one-step directives, like clap your hands, wave, jump up and down, touch your head, touch your nose, etc. Once your child has learned to imitate a variety of gross, fine, and oral motor movements in response to do this while you're modeling the movement you want them to do, once you can use those things for behavior momentum, you're ready to try to build some vocal verbal imitation. This is how we do that. So first you use behavior momentum. And again, depending on how difficult it is for your child, you could use anywhere from 3 to 5 to 6 to 8 to 10 imitations and directives initially. Okay, so first we're going to do a variety of different directives and motor imitations before we give the verbal model. So we're going to do clap your hands, great job, stand up, good for you, jump up and down, awesome, do this, clapping my hands, do this, putting my arms up, touch your nose, good job, touch your head, good job. I'm touching, do this as I'm touching my pointer fingers together. Do this, ah. Okay, so the ah was the verbal, the most difficult response, the low P response. But if the child followed all of those directives and motor imitations before I said ah, they are more likely to imitate based on the momentum we just gathered from stand up, sit down, jump up and down, do this, do this, do this, pointing your fingers together, do this. Okay, so after they've done all of those things and they've done them quickly and they've built up that momentum, and then when I throw in, say, or do this, they're more likely to do it because they've gained the momentum behind them from imitating all of those other things and following those directives we just modeled and gave them, okay? So this is a really helpful strategy for getting a child to use verbals, even if a child is nonverbal, because like I said, we get that beginning verbal from saying something like, do this, do this, okay, do this, la, 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 and they'll be more likely to do it after they've already imitated and followed some single step direction. I tend to try and get closer to the target behavior. So I'll start off with some directives, then I'll do some gross motor imitation, then some fine motor imitation, because the directives don't really require the child to look at or imitate me. It's just based on the skills they have already learned to do. Then the gross motor movements make them attend to me and follow what I'm doing, but with easier big movements. Then the fine motor movements are more difficult than gross motor movements. So now they're attending to me and doing something a little bit more difficult. I might even throw in an oral motor movement where I just open my mouth or stick out my tongue, because again, that's even harder than a fine motor movement. And it's related to speech, which I'm going to now model for them. So when I now throw in the that's the most difficult behavior. So again, I went from most simple to a little more difficult, to a little more difficult, to most difficult, just through the behavior momentum procedure. And I've found that to be most effective with a lot of the students that I work with. Again, you can do this, putting your arms up, clap your hands, turn around, touch your nose, say boo. Okay, whatever it is that you want your child to say. If you are going to ask them their name and they have been non-compliant in giving you their name, but it's a question you know that they've met a criteria for, say, in session or at school, but they're not doing it for you. Again, you can use behavior momentum. Do this, clap your hands, turn around, jump up and down. What's your name? Okay, behavior momentum is basically like, remember when you were a kid and you played Simon Says, right? It's the whole basis behind the game of Simon Says is behavior momentum, right? Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your nose. Simon says, do this. Simon says, do this. Simon says, jump, touch your feet. Oh, I didn't say Simon says. Why do you touch your feet when I didn't say Simon says, right? You're a competent person. You're a grown adult. You're a child that's competent. You've heard the rules. You know you only are supposed to do what I say if I say Simon says before it. But after you've already heard Simon says and you followed the directions so many times before that, when I throw in a directive without Simon says, you've already gained so much momentum. It's like you didn't even realize it kind of snuck up on you. You didn't realize that I didn't say Simon says. You were already on such a roll of following through that you automatically followed through even when you shouldn't. Okay, so that's behavioral momentum in a nutshell. It's like Simon says for adults, right? But as a teaching procedure with your child, to get them to do something that they either haven't done before, like verbal imitation, or something they have done before, but they're not doing right now, like transitioning to a less preferred activity, or taking a bath if they don't like to do that, or having to stop doing something, or having to follow an unexpected direction. Okay, if you can master this technique, it will make your lives so much easier. I promise you. This is a great technique. It's one of the first ones that I try to teach parents. I try to teach new therapists right off the bat, because this is so generalizable to so many things. And as we mentioned in the presentation, as you get better and better at doing this, you'll see more and more opportunities to use it in your day-to-day lives. So let's talk a little bit about our Champions for Children Masterclass, okay? Let's think a little bit about what you guys want for your child, some of the reasons why you came to this workshop tonight. You want to hear your child be able to speak, to hear their voice, like we were just talking about using behavioral momentum to get those first words, to get your child to speak, right? That's something that many of our families say is the most important thing, is to get more language and more communication from their child. You want a child who can use the bathroom and is not in diapers. You want a child that doesn't tantrum or get aggressive with you or with others. You want to have a deeper relationship with your child and share their thoughts and dreams with you. You want your child to be able to go to any school, any extracurricular activity, to camps without their autism diagnosis making it impossible. You want to drop and go at a birthday party or a sleepover without having to be the one mom or dad that has to stay through the kid's party just in case your child needs redirection or needs to leave early or needs prompting for something. You want to be able to just drop them off and leave like all the other parents are doing. You want to be able to enjoy a family vacation without any additional added stress other than the stress of traveling with your family always incorporates, but you don't want any additional autism-related stress to get in the way. You want to enjoy holidays, parties with family and friends without having to hover or explain away your child's behaviors. You want to know that when you're gone, your child can be independent because you won't be around forever. You want your child to have a strong connection with their siblings, with their family, and with their peers. And what do you want for yourself? I know this isn't a question that autism moms and dads are used to asking themselves, but think about that for a second. What kind of things would you like to have for yourself? You want an unbreakable connection with your child. You want to have peace with their diagnosis. You don't want to believe that autism is a death sentence. You want to feel it in your bones that you didn't fail your child. You want to know that you left no stone unturned. You want to know that your children will remember their childhood and say, Mommy or Daddy gave me an amazing childhood. You want to live every day knowing that if you died tomorrow, you gave 110%, no regrets. You know that you're raising happy, healthy, self-regulating children that grow to happy adults. Isn't that something that you want for yourself? Here's an example of some information that we got from one of our clients, right? Sorry I haven't been available to plug into sessions. Life is moving so fast, but I wanted you guys to know that Ian is officially potty trained. 2 magical things happen. My sister-in-law asked what Ian wanted for Christmas, and I said, anything Reese peanut butter cup. She gave him those large 1-pound size cups. He lost his little blessed mind when he opened it. He watches videos of people opening and eating all these products. So when he got a huge peanut butter cup for Christmas, bingo, Disneyland, LOL. So we have bought several of these treats for him, and he gets a piece of the cup every time he poops in the potty. Secondly, I decided to use the token board and his reward of a hotel night stay with a swimming pool. Bingo! Talk about a home run for my kiddo. Reese's and hotel. He literally went into the bathroom and took a poop on the toilet. I'm so happy I was crying, but also some mixed feelings of, you've got to be shitting me. Ha! I didn't know to be upset, overjoyed, or just so damn proud. He filled up his first token board very quickly and got his first hotel stay just after Christmas. He's on his second board, much bigger, but it is refining his bathroom routine. Only 5 sheets toilet paper, 2 pumps of soap, wipe, flushing, everything. His teacher is just speechless because she has never seen such a quick turnaround. The school was talking about putting him back in pull-ups because of his accidents. Now I'm using the token board to refine and encourage correct choices, behavior, moods, talking via his tablet and via the mouth. I cannot tell you how much joy, unspeakable joy I have in my heart right now for him and me, my family. A veil of depression that I didn't know existed has lifted, and I can see and feel more clearly now. Ian's overall independence has picked up greatly too, getting his own water from the water filter system, making his own food, just a lot of things in general. So next 2 main targets are language, verbal, and social play. I'm calling this hotel therapy for Ian, and it's so much more fun and affordable than any of the other treatments I have paid for. I have you and Stella and CFOC to thank over and over again. I signed up for Armando's talk this Thursday. Can't wait. This is an actual letter that we got from one of the people that came to a workshop and signed up for our master class and has been having lots of potty training success. My Ian is officially potty trained, etc., etc. I just read that all to you. Okay. So what we offer, what she signed up for, was 3-month group coaching program with guaranteed results, and I will explain that. What you get when you join our 3-month program, you get lifetime access to the self-study vault of courses that you can do on your own time. So you can go in there, pick whatever topic you're interested in or that's affecting your life in the moment and do some self-study and get some information like the presentations I'm doing here, but you would be reading it on your own. Okay, they have things on potty training, communication, stopping problem behaviors, social skills, picky eater protocol, mindset training, stopping eloping, and we build it out every month. Okay, so adding new things all the time. This collection of programs is what makes our program the Harvard of autism, and we are not kidding. Okay, the other things you get when you join our 3-month coaching program, you get not only lifetime access to the self-study vault, but you get 3 to 4 live group coaching call where you learn from the experts. Okay, you get Michelle, the autism mom and life coach, and you'll come on her call to craft out a personalized plan for your baby. There she is. You get Stella, the mindset coach, to help keep your mindset in a place where you stay determined to help your baby. You get a BCBA, Armando, myself, Melissa, Stacy, or Julie, and you can learn how to get your child to the big 3 with effective ABA strategies that you can do at home with them. There we are. We still got to get a picture of Julie in there. Everyone gets their questions answered. Okay. The next thing that you get monthly specialist calls. Okay. So the group coaching calls are every week. One of the coaches, you get 3 to 4 a week, okay? We put up a topic, just like on the workshop, maybe just a few slides, right? A shorter presentation on a topic that's either come up with a family, someone's asked a question, they've posted on our Facebook group, something has come up during our coaching, and we've made a presentation to work on that skill, to teach you guys whatever skill that is that you might need to learn, whether it's how to prompt, how to fade, how to teach a timer, how to teach your child to sit in a chair, how to teach them to eat non-preferred foods, etc. Okay, so we'll do a little presentation and then we open it for coaching questions as well. Okay, Michelle might do her call, Stella might do her mindset call, a BCBA might do the call. And in addition to all of those calls that you're going to get every week, okay, you also get a monthly specialist call. We have a registered dietitian who's an autism mom, Greer. She is awesome. So many of our kids have feeding or gastroenterological problems, right? Talk to Greer. She knows what she's doing. We have a speech language pathologist who is also an autism mom, right? Jessica is awesome. And as autism moms, they have been where you are. They've had to do these same things that they're advising you to do with their own kids. They know what it's like to have to implement these strategies with their child while their child might be having a meltdown or about to have a meltdown. So they know of what they speak because they have been there and they're specialists. Everyone gets their questions answered. Okay. And in addition to the lifetime access to the self-study vault, the 3 to 4 live group coaching calls from the experts and the monthly specialist calls, you also get access to our private Facebook community where you never feel alone again. You post what you need. We check that group daily. Any questions that are posted, the right people will get back to you. Okay, so if it's a speech question, our SLP will get back to you. If it's a feeding issue question, Greer will get back to you. And maybe the BCBA and Michelle and Stella might also chime in and give you some advice as well. And maybe some of the other autism moms that are, and dads and grandparents that are also part of CFOC might also see your post and might give you some helpful advice or just some support. Hang in there. I've been where you are and things got better. Or you could email directly. Okay, you join, we're a family. Your baby is our baby. So you get access to all of this stuff, and you can just email with a question or a problem or a crisis or anything that's going on at any time. Support is truly our North Star. We take that very seriously. Okay, so we also have, as I mentioned, guaranteed results. We have an action-back guarantee. So if after 90 days, 3 months, you don't get the results you came for, you stay in the program till you do, or you'll get your money back. So as long as you are participating, as long as you are coming on the calls, you're trying the strategies, you're asking for help, if after 90 days of all of this, you haven't achieved what you're looking for, the goals you've set for your baby, you either stay until you do. So if you're making some progress, you're just not there yet, you stay until you get to where you need to be, or you get your money back if that's what you would prefer. Where else are you going to get that kind of a deal? How? It's like a no-lose proposition. You either get guaranteed results that you will meet the goals that you have for your kids, or you're going to get your money back. Like, it really is a win-win, no-lose situation. Okay. Now, bonus. You get 4 months of the program instead of 3. So right off the bat, not even after 90 days, it's after 120 days, right off the bat, because you guys were here tonight, okay? So 4 months instead of 3 before you have to ask for more time or your money back. You might not even need the 4 months, but it's good to have the support just for anything else that might be coming up. You already met your goals, but you still got 2 months left. So let's come up with some new goals and we'll meet those too. There is a link in the chat box. Book a call to learn about our masterclass, okay? So just go into the chat box. There is a link there. Click on that link and ask about our masterclass and we will get you signed up. Okay? Book that free call now. If you don't do it, you'll never know what may have happened had you made that call. Okay? You'll never know, could I have achieved more for my child? Could my child have achieved more? Could my family be in a different place? Like the next time if you don't book the call, what ends up happening is the next time your child's having a meltdown, the next time you feel like, I don't know what to do, you immediately regret, maybe I should have called. Maybe if I would have booked that call, I might not be in the situation right now. Maybe I'd know what to do right now, or maybe I'd have somebody that I could email or text or reach out to or post a question to right now. So it really does make so much of a difference to have that support. And trust me, if you don't, the next time you are really starting to feel a little lost, you will regret not calling. And like I said, there's no lose, like it's win-win. Click that link in the chat box, okay? So why us? Why come to our program? Well, we believe that every child on the spectrum is unique, and your program should be flexible and bend enough to meet that uniqueness with personalized strategies. You can learn that potty training is 1,000% possible, and that your child doesn't need to be verbal or mildly autistic to achieve it. You can feel confident as a parent like you were before the diagnosis came, because you'll be fluent in your child's language of behavior. Behavior is always communicating something. Even if it's communicating, I don't like this right now, it's communicating something to you. We will teach you to speak their language so that you can get them to speak our language. You will start to reconnect to your child because that communication is finally in place. We're going to get to the root of your child's problem behaviors and treat it, not just treat the symptom, which is why in the past you may have fixed one thing and then something pops up in its place. And then you fix that thing and something else pops up in its place again. And it's like you're just constantly playing whack-a-mole with all of these crazy behaviors, and you feel like eventually you're just going to run out of steam. No, that doesn't happen here, because we're not just treating the symptom, we're really looking at the root cause of the behavior and teaching you guys how to do it, not just an RBT that's coming into your house for a couple of hours and then leaving. We're giving you the tools. Like there was a time I didn't know how to do this either, and I got trained, and now I can teach pretty much anybody pretty much anything. And I could teach you how to do that too, right? So just because you may not have all of those skills now doesn't mean that you can't be as fluent in those skills as the best BCBA out there, okay? Because again, they wouldn't be there if they didn't learn it too. And you're even more motivated than they are, because this is for your baby, for your family. We're going to teach you how to live your life again, how to show up for an IEP meeting with support and advocacy right there in your back pocket, how to go to a holiday party, how to plan a vacation, how to just be a family. When life happens, we'll help get you back on track. If there's a regression, we'll tell you exactly how to handle it so it won't happen again next time. Right? Summer is quickly approaching us, and not everybody gets programs over the summer, right? So not everybody gets a 12-month program. And over the summer, a lot of kids regress. If your kid is getting a 12-month program, it's because they do tend to regress when school is not in session. But even summer school is only 6 weeks, right? So that's not the entire summer. There's usually about a week between school ending and summer school starting. And then once summer school ends, there's like 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes a little bit more than that, before school starts up again in the fall. That's the time where you might see a lot of regression. And in summer school, you're not meant to make progress, you're meant to prevent regression. So it's only designed to keep your child from falling behind, not to keep them moving ahead, okay? We are designed to keep your child moving ahead. So we're gonna learn from trial and error rather than quitting on our kids. The only true failure is quitting. And the only true quitting is never even getting started in the first place, right? We're going to teach you how to build that champion mindset so you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day, and you'll get your independence back too. Now, you might be thinking, I don't know if now is a good time. Time for children on the spectrum is currency, and we can't afford to waste a minute not being strategic in how we are spending it to up-level our kids. Like, think about it. For any child without a delay, they only have to learn 1 day's worth of school for every day that they're at school, okay? But if you're behind in any way, if you're ever going to catch up, you actually need to learn more than 1 day's worth of school for every day that you're there. Otherwise, you'll always just be that amount behind. So we actually have to expect even more from our kids than for kids without learning challenges. Like, how is that even possible? Well, it's not possible if we keep waiting and wasting time, because every day lost takes 3 to make up. There will never be quote unquote perfect time. There never is. We help you create the time and to use the time you already have more effectively. So in and of itself, you will get more efficient and therefore have more time. If you don't have time now, it takes even longer to get these skills for your baby on your own. And the longer they keep practicing bad habits or don't start practicing appropriate behavior and communication, the harder it is and the longer it takes to get them to do it. Because like with anything, the longer you do any bad habit or the longer it takes you to start something new, well, the longer it takes to get done. And like I said, every day wasted takes 3 to make up. If we could value time as much as we do money, it truly is the ultimate expense we can't afford to waste. I want you to think about if you could find 1 hour, how would you do it? And when you find that hour, how could using it to work with me weekly give you more of that time back? Knowing what this is costing you and your family, can you spare another second of not getting this done now? Now, you might be thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this? Or you might be thinking, this is expensive. Well, it's also more valuable than anything you can buy because you get years back. You get peace knowing the future for your child has possibilities. What is it costing you to not get your baby the big 3 now? The cost of diapers and wipes, over $2,000 a year. The cost of time to change them, more than 135 hours annually, which is 4 weeks of your life you'll never get back. The cost of not being able to move on and teach other important life skills, which is priceless. The cost to you mentally and emotionally that this rite of passage from baby to child never happened, or from child to teen, or teen to adult, or you see your other children achieving milestones that their older sibling isn't achieving, or you see other family members and their children achieving milestones, and each milestone, it kind of hits you all over again. Like, my nephew just turned 13 and this is where I thought my child would be at 13, or my niece just started dating and then this is when I thought my child would start dating, and my neighbor's kid just started driving and I thought my child would start driving when they were 16, and on and on and on, right? That's invaluable and priceless too. The cost is just incalculable. Can you afford to pay that price any longer? You might also be thinking, I've failed so many times, or I've tried everything. How is this going to be different? Well, you haven't tried everything. How many times have you lost your keys and gone on a hunt for them? It's funny how you always find them in the last place you look, right? Because you can hunt and look everywhere and poof, then they appear. It's always in that last place because that's when you've tried everything. Right now, you might be in the second to last place, but this program is the last place. It's the last place you'll have to look because it's where you will find the key to unlocking an amazing future for your child. We work with you until you and your baby win. We do not quit. Make this time different. If you're thinking, well, I need to think about it. Doesn't take time to make a decision. It takes information. Like when you want to do something, if somebody asks you to go somewhere and do something, if your response isn't, hell yeah, I'm in, you're already making excuses not to go, right? If you ask somebody to do something with you and their response isn't, absolutely, I am in, they're not going. They don't want to. They don't really want to do it. And if they're doing it to be nice, or they're saying yes and already thinking of how they're going to get out of it, right? It's the same thing with this. You don't have to think about it. You just have to say, like, I'm here for a reason because I need my kid to learn more things. I need to learn more things to help my child learn those more things. And we're saying, we will help you until you have learned those things and until your child has learned those things, or we'll give you your money back, or you can stay until you do. So either way, you're either going to achieve those goals no matter what, or you're going to get your money back. We think that the longer we wait, the more information we'll have, and we're going to feel better about making that decision somehow. But actually, the opposite happens. The longer you wait, the more you'll feel less confident, more uncertain, more doubtful. You'll keep coming up with more and more excuses. It'll seem less and less urgent. You'll continue to get desensitized to the craziness and chaos that's going on right now. And you'll start to get used to that feeling of, well, I guess we're just not going to get there, even though you could get there. The reason some decisions feel solid or certain is because our brain gives us that feeling when we make a known decision from the past, which is giving you the results you have now. Sitting in, I need to think about it, keeps you stuck, and it keeps you not taking action to help your baby now. Remember, time equals currency. And it's the reason why you should join this program, because we coach you through the stuckness. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. And it's the reason you have the results you have now with your child. All of these thoughts are way more expensive than working with us. If you want new results, you have to make new and different decisions. What is it that they say? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is like the definition of insanity. So we have to do something different. Now, I just want to mention something on unicorn syndrome. Juliana, who you're going to see a video, Juliana is different than my child. My child has severe autism. It's not going to work for us. This works for other kids, but it won't work for mine. My child is broken or I am broken, so this isn't going to work for us. There's just nothing out there that'll change the trajectory for my child, but this is for other people's kids. Unicorn syndrome is a self-preservation state. If I stay here, I never put myself out there to have these hopes and dreams for my baby. And when that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. Okay, that is unicorn syndrome. Subconsciously, you're saying, I can't risk trying and failing. I won't survive it, so I'm not even going to bother trying. Sitting in, I don't know, or asking quote unquote shitty questions with no real answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know or questions you can't answer. Just decide. Decide you're not ready and won't do the work, or decide you're nervous, but you're willing to try it. Give yourself the gift of a decision. Honor yourself and your child right now. If fears and worries are dominating your day and night, then join us. If there's something in you that identifies with what I've taught you today and it makes sense, then take a leap of faith and join us. Saying yes will have you and your baby moving forward starting today. Click the link in the chat box and book your call.
So I guess I wanted to start asking you, what were your biggest struggles prior to joining the program?
I was going around and looking for organizations. I was looking for help.
So I started looking up online, and I'm like, I really need somebody who's been through.
There's no access to any kind of services over here in Ireland. Googling stuff and trying to find something.
I joined because I have a 3-year-old autistic son, so I knew I had to do something that I didn't know what to do.
Everything seemed to be waitlisted or just not available. To break it down to him, I had to have somebody break it down to me.
And that really got me worried.
it got my husband worried and thinking, okay, we need to speak to PD.
I think my biggest struggle was understanding their potential.
I actually didn't know, like I was kind of relying on just the speech therapist.
I came in just feeling very helpless, very confused.
What can I do now that I haven't already done? You know, what would be the harm? What can I lose?
Before participating, we weren't making as much progress. It was slow progress.
I believe that I found you on Instagram.
She is very turned off by a lot of doctors and therapists and things. I went back and forth and I'm like, she's going to start ABA therapy on this day. And I told them that was my number one goal.
As everyone would be, I was a little skeptical because of how many times I have tried with Alexander.
On one end, I'm hearing, okay, she's, artistic and, you qualify for a lot of services. And when I go and try to inquire about, we can't service her.
All right, so now, I guess, where are you now? You and your child, now that you've joined the program?
They're doing really, really well. Doing really, really well. I think their ABA program here is wonderful. We got very lucky with that.
One word here or there, what it was that he wanted, but not necessarily saying I want it would be apple or this or that. And that has totally blossomed. And now following like what the BCBA said, which is starting really small.
Okay, so where I am now is where I kind of know that I'm in charge.
The changes in him in less than 2 months, I think I've been like 6 weeks, are miraculous. The behaviors are decreased. The stimming has decreased. The listening to directions has increased. The language has increased.
I just, set those goals for myself and cross them off and once I did that for me, turn my focus 100% and then I was able to get the work done.
You helped me formulate the confidence in myself. That realize I'm ready to really go for it. I would not have gotten through it. It went so much better than I ever could have imagined.
I started listening to tips from Michelle.
He's doing so much better. More eye contact for sure. We're working on talking, on saying some words.
Yeah, it went really well. Like again, the tips you guys gave me.
It doesn't seem like this big impossible thing.
I just been given something so precious.
He's more verbal, right direction, and I'm so happy to be part of this group.
We never in a million years thought that it would happen this early.
He's making a lot more sounds. He's now at that point where he's no longer frustrated since you and all of the teachers have given me all of the ideas and the strategies.
We all want our children to succeed, and it's just been wonderful.
Would you recommend our program to any moms or dads that are going through this right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I would definitely prefer anyone to this.
Yes, definitely. You guys need to do this program. It'll change you guys and your child's life tremendously.
100%. I do recommend that you learn something new.
I would definitely suggest to go through this program for at least first 4 to 6 months.
This program has allowed that. I'm really grateful for that.
Take this course, do the one-on-ones, listen and absorb everything that this team has to offer.
You guys have a gift. And you're sharing it, and that's amazing.
So I will recommend you to anybody, whoever is out there.
It's been really great. It's been really great. And
This is going to help you. You can learn through other parents' experiences.
just do it. Don't hold back. Just go all in with your daughter or your son. And I promise you will definitely see results.
Okay, so thank you for remaining through the presentation to Q&A time. All of you guys will be entered in the raffle at the end of our questions. So first, I want to just take a quick look in the chat box and see some of the comments that were made during the presentation. Let me just scroll through here, see if there's any specific questions or anything. A lot of hellos. Somebody mentioned something about missing the slide. You can get access to the video and look look at it again later. Let's see. Okay, so somebody had asked here, Amanda, Amanda, asked a question in the chat box. What happens when your child has not yet emerged with any one-step directions? Do you still follow the same process? That's one of the prerequisite skills. So we need to start working on teaching those one-step directions, motor imitations as well, before you start using the behavior momentum, because your child needs something to be able to build that momentum from. So if there's another skill, if they can like point to and identify pictures, then that could be something that you use for behavior momentum as well. But in general, I always recommend having a variety of gross and fine motor imitations, or at least gross motor imitation and single step directions under your belt first before they start using behavior momentum. So if your child doesn't have that, that's the first thing to do, is to teach those directions and to teach those motor imitations using just physical prompting, fading those prompts, and reinforcing as your child is doing that more and more independently. We will do a presentation on that one night as well. Let's see, it seems like it's aimed a little towards the little kids. Is there a way that this can work for a 13-year-old? If so, what would this look like? Absolutely. So here's an example of a way you might use behavior momentum with a 13-year-old, okay? First, you can ask some questions. So it doesn't have to be touch your nose. It could be, tell me what you had for lunch today. Tell me about your, tell me what you did at recess today. Tell me what you want to watch later on TV. Tell me what you want to eat for dinner. And then you can throw in a question or a statement or a directive that's less preferred. Or here's a really good one that I like to use with teens or middle school kids as well. So say you want to get them to transition off of Minecraft or transition off the iPad. Okay, so let's say as an example, they're playing the game Minecraft and you want to get them to transition off of it. Instead of just coming over to them and say, turn off the Minecraft, we can use behavior momentum. So first you might say, hey, can your guy build a house, right? Let them build something. Then you might say, hey, can your guy climb to the top of the house? Now they climb to the top of the house. Now you might say, hey, can that guy attack one of those skeleton guys? Have him do that. Oh, can your guy climb up that tree? Oh, that's awesome. Can he go inside of the house? Oh, could he jump on the well? Those are that's really awesome the way you got him to do all of those things. I love it. All right, can you show me one more thing before we get out of here? Can he start up his workbench? What, that is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those things with me and for showing me all those things. Okay, let's turn it off now so we can go start dinner. So that's a way that it might look like for, say, a 13-year-old, or for a skill like getting off of a game or getting off of the iPad. So again, they're watching a YouTube video, okay? So have them show you. Could you rewind that for me? Can you show me this other clip? Hey, can you click on this link? Hey, can you show me a different video like that? Then, okay, can you show me one more thing before we get off of here and go do something different? Oh, thank you so much. All right, can you show me this other? Awesome. Okay, now let's put this away and let's go do blank. So here, those are a couple of examples of how it might look for an older child or for an activity like that. So again, it's all about low probability and high probability for your child, whatever that might look like. Okay, so make a list of things that your 13-year-old is likely to do and a list of things that your 13-year-old is not likely to do. Then all you need to do is be able to present a half dozen or so of the things he's likely to do before asking him to do something that he's unlikely to do. Yes, that's one of my problems with my son, is that he won't imitate. So again, that's a skill that we need to build first, the imitation or direction following, so that you can use this technique. And again, if you can get some direction following, you can use it to teach the motor imitation. If you can get some motor imitation, then you can use the behavior momentum with the motor imitation to teach the direction following. Let's see. A lot of questions about how to get to imitate. That'll be another presentation. It's just too big of a an answer to give like a quick answer to. Let's see, what about working with an 11-year-old with high functioning autism? At times they will just talk loud on purpose while looking at you, but doesn't want others around them to be loud, even when she is louder. That's not necessarily a behavior momentum thing. As we mentioned in the presentation, this isn't for everything. It's for engaging in active behaviors that you want the child to engage in. So what it sounds like here is that you want her to be quiet or stop talking, and behavior momentum is all about eliciting behavior. So that would require a different plan, like maybe a DRO or a DRI. And I do workshops on that as well. So just keep your eye out. And we will be doing some workshops on those topics as well. I do the clapping and the hyping them up, and all I get is it's excited face, but won't imitate me. So again, we have to work on the imitation skills first. And when they're able to imitate successfully, like during session or during discrete trial drills, then you can start using it for behavior momentum. Let's see. I feel I can't apply this to my child. She's 2 and can't understand most of the sample commands you have mentioned. She's not imitating as much. So again, as far as getting more of her attention, again, that's kind of another presentation that we do as well. Let's see, it's another thing. He doesn't answer to his name at times, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see. Book a call. Classes for teachers. I teach 1 and 2-year-olds, good information, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, let me now take a quick look in the Q&A box, and then I'm going to open it for raised hands and live questions. Let's see. Will the presentation be available after today? Yes. Let's see, what's the price? Book the call, and you can ask all of those questions to the person that will answer. When you book that call, they will let you know. It depends on what you're interested in. So just book the call. We don't want to give one pat answer for everybody. So book the call and they will answer all of those questions for you. Let's see. Spitting for saying no, she's not supposed to do, and she keeps spitting more. Okay, that's another question we can answer. Enrolling in your program. Thank you for the wonderful coaching. What would be the best way to coach them as well? So again, a parent had asked about signing up for the program and asking for access for her staff as well. If you sign up for the program, you can definitely share these videos and share some of the information with your staff. Maybe have them join you while you're on a group call and stay around for the question and answer part at the end, and you can kind of come on and ask questions as a group, and we can give you some information. Michelle also does offer some one-on-one accelerator programs where you can get one-on-one personalized assistance from the BCBAs and from the other coaches. So that could be something that might be able to help your specific team better. I am now going to look at the participants and see people who have their hands raised for questions, so we can open for some live questions now. I see that Jerusha, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Williams, it seems that you have your hand raised. If you would like to unmute your mic, I would be more than happy. Jerusha Williams, if you are available and would like to ask a live question, I am more than happy to answer your question right now. Jerusha, are you there? Hello? Hi, how are you? You just have to unmute your mic. Jerusha, if you're there and have a question. Okay, while we are waiting for Jerusha.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
What can I do for you?
I just want to ask a question. My grandson, he's 5 years old. He goes to preschool and he goes to a school for, children with autism. But when he's leaving home to go to other places, he has a meltdown. And then when he arrives at the other place, he also have a meltdown.
But he doesn't have a meltdown when he's going to school.
No, it's like he enjoy and he look forward to going to school.
Okay, but the first time when he first went to school, when he didn't know he was going to have a good time at school, did he have a meltdown then?
Yes.
Okay. So, but he learned that going there is fun, so I don't have to melt down when I'm going there. So he
Right.
knows what to expect at school and he knows it's gonna be pleasant.
Yes.
My recommendation would be take some pictures of places that might be fun for him, depending on things that he likes. So if he likes water, take him to a park that has water stuff on it. If he likes dogs, a picture of a dog park, okay? So take pictures of some places that are associated with activities that he might find fun. And then you can show him the picture and then take him to that activity. Lots of reinforcement and praise along the way. He is gonna have a meltdown initially, but still take him to that place and try to engage him in having fun as much as you can. Eventually, he'll start to figure out the predictability of the pictures. Then he can start to choose, like, I want to go here, I'm going to choose this picture. It's also because right now, when he's leaving the house, unless he's going to school, he doesn't really know what to expect. You might be bringing me somewhere that's loud or that smells too long or overwhelming. You might be bringing me somewhere where I have to wait my turn, where I can't do what I want to do the way I want to do it. I might have to share things. I might have to share attention. I might not be able to do, like, play with my iPad or play with my toys. So there's a lot of unpredictability there. But when he starts to associate, like, here's a picture of school before I get on the bus. Here's a picture of the trampoline.
Okay, but
park
even
before I-
if, like, when he leaves school, he comes to my house every day because his mom have to work.
Uh-huh.
And he has a meltdown when he get here. And I notice on some days, he's not verbally, but he does some verbal. And I notice some days he be like, her gone, her leave. And I'm thinking he's missing his mom.
Right. And you very well could be right. He might just want to go home and he's not getting that choice. So I would just, again, over time, he's going to start to learn, like, the meltdown doesn't get me out of where I don't want to be. So let me try and enjoy it as much as I can, right? So I would just continue to be consistent, show him some pictures so that there's predictability there, like that you're going to grandma's and that's where we're going. And then you could show him a picture of, like, you're going to go home too. Like show him, like, even if you make like a little tiny visual schedule, like we come to grandma's, picture grandma, we have a snack, maybe a picture of a snack. You get to play on your iPad, maybe a picture of the iPad, and then you're going to go home and a picture of mom. Or if he has dinner with you, like a picture of dinner and then a picture of mom or a picture of home. And as you're going through those activities, remove each picture after you finish it so he could see how close he's getting to going home. Again, it's all about adding that predictability. Like, it's not going to last forever. And look, we only have this much more to do, and then you'll get home. It's mommy's not gone, and you will get there. We just have to do this first.
Oh, okay.
Try that and let me know how it goes.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Let's see who else has a raised hand here. Okay, let's see. Giselle Hernandez. Giselle or Gazelle? I think it's Giselle. Giselle Hernandez. If you would like to unmute your mic, I would be more than happy to answer your question as well. Giselle, are you there? Hi,
Yes,
how are you?
Hello. I didn't have any questions. I was just trying to figure out how to use this.
Oh, okay. No problems at all. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, Amanda McIntosh. I see your hand is raised. Would you like to ask a question?
Hi, yeah, I did. So I wanted to know, like, how the behavioral momentum applies to, like, physical things like grooming. So, like, how would you apply it? Like, let's say you have a child who you have difficulty with, like, brushing teeth or combing hair or things of that nature. Because I can see, like, how it can be effective for, like, other behaviors. Not that I don't think it would be ineffective, but I'm trying to visualize what that
So-
behavioral momentum would look like.
Okay, so there's a difference between if the child is able to brush his hair or brush his teeth but doesn't want to, that's a different answer than if they don't yet know how to do those behaviors. So can your child do those behaviors, and he just doesn't like to or want to do them, or has he not yet learned how to?
So he doesn't know how to. So I guess my question more so applies like when you would like participation so that you can teach them how to do the thing. So like,
Okay.
I guess like, let's say like an emerging learner, like a 4-year-old that has never had their teeth brushed before, and you want to introduce a thing without traumatizing them. And then you
Right.
say, okay, you know what, let me try the behavioral momentum. Like, how would that look in real
Okay,
time?
here's how it might look. So right now, if I'm going to teach a child that's never brushed their teeth before or might not like having their teeth brushed, I might do something like this. First, I'm going to write out a list of steps of what it takes to brush your teeth, right? So the first step might just be like picking up the toothbrush, putting it in your mouth, putting toothpaste on it, getting water, brushing your actual teeth, rinsing and spitting, and then cleaning up and putting things away. So the first thing I'm only going to ask the child to do, right? And because they can grab their toothbrush, but they might not like putting it in their mouth, right? So the way I might use behavioral momentum might be initially, step one is just kind of picking up the brush and that's it. So I might do, hey, touch your nose. Good. Clap your hands. Good. Jump up and down. Great. Do this. Put my arms up. Great. Touch your head. Awesome. Do this. And I pick up my toothbrush and then he picks up his toothbrush. Awesome. That's it. We're all done for today. Good for you. That's step one. Okay. Once he can do step one and he's excited about doing it, it's fun, it's not traumatic. Now, step one becomes one of those high probability behaviors, right? So now it's going to be clap your hands. Great job. Touch your nose. Good for you. Do this. Awesome. Do this. We pick up the brush. Jump up and down. Good for you. Do this. Good for you. Do this. Put it in your mouth and that's it. He puts it in his mouth. Awesome. We're all done. Yay. Way to go. So you're only going to expect a little tiny piece of the behavior and you'll use the high probability behavior right before that. And then you're just going to model that one step that you want him to do. So initially just picking it up. So he just gets used to, oh, all I have to do is one thing and we're all done. I can do that. Then when he's used to that, that one thing becomes part of that chain. And then you can get the next step where now it's just put in the mouth, right? Then the step after that might be doing a variety of other, again, high probability behaviors, and then putting it in your mouth and just putting it up and down a little bit. So again, you're only going to expect that one new step at the end of the behavior momentum. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. And then I guess like part two, my question is like, okay, so like when you have multiple children that are placed differently on the spectrum, and let's say if they're all learning the same task, would the behavioral momentum, so like with the toothbrushing, I guess like that's the difficulty we have. Do you have to differentiate what the steps are, or do you keep the steps the same with the same
It
little
really
expectation?
depends. Like if so, like for teaching all the kids toothbrushing, you might want to use all the same steps, but depending on their level, one kid might need more interim steps than another. So one child might be
Okay.
able to follow a schedule that says pick up toothbrush, put toothpaste on brush, wet brush, put brush in mouth. Another child might need interim steps for pick up toothbrush, open cap, squeeze paste on brush, right? So they might need more steps in the middle. It really depends. So I would do each one separate, like one at a time until they're all able to do the chain together. And then you can do like a group toothbrushing together if you need to.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's
That was
my
so
pleasure.
helpful.
Please come back to another workshop so I can hear how it's been going.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Let's see, Vince Manabusin. I know I'm butchering your last name. I'm so sorry. Vince M. Your hand is up. If you would like to unmute your mic, I would be happy to answer your question. Are you there, Vince? Vince Manibusan. I butchered your last name once. If you would like to ask a question, please unmute your mic and I would be happy to answer it. Are you there? I know a lot of times people might kind of listen to the workshop in the background, or sometimes they're, oh, and you sent the question, that might have been one that I answered earlier when I was reading the questions before that were posted in the chat box. So before we wrap for the evening, I would like to do our raffle. So Jen, if you would like, could we maybe spin the wheel and see who wins their 30-minute one-on-one session with any coach they want? Oh, you sent a new question. Okay, Vince, let's do the raffle and then I will go into the chat box and I will answer your new question. So Jen, if you want, let's spin that wheel. Good luck, everyone. Let's see. Latanya, congratulations. You are our winner. So you have won a 30-minute coaching session one-on-one with the coach of your choice. Congratulations. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm very happy for you. Okay, now let me look in the Q&A box and see if, nope. Okay, wait, let me look in the chat box. Oh, it was there a second ago. What happened to the chat box? Let's see. Let's see, where is the, I don't know, I can't find the chat now. Let's see. Oh, here we go, chat. Sorry. Just everything moved around for a moment. So let's see. I want to get to David's question. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. I'm just looking for your question. Okay. Oh, let's see. One new message. Let's see. Okay. My son has meltdowns every time we go to his mom, I think. Is that what you said? I believe that was the question, that he has meltdowns when he goes to his mom's. So again, it kind of depends on what's going on in that particular environment, and what there could be a difference in the demands being placed in one environment versus another. So is that in mom's house, is she expecting more from him than you're expecting? Are the rules different? And if so, oh, that wasn't your question, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm so sorry, Vince. What is your question? Please feel free to just type it right there below where it was. Below what you just wrote here, where you said, sorry, no, that wasn't my question, but it's okay. If you want to just type out your new question right there, I will be more than happy to answer it. And again, my apologies, Vince. And I'm just trying to scroll up to see. Sent my question to you. Do I have no voice? He sent the question. Let's see. My son has swim lessons. Okay, swim lessons, sorry. So he has meltdowns every time he goes to swim lessons. So my question to you would be, does he have like sensory sensitivities? He's been going there many times, right? When we make the turn into the places he has to go, that's when he starts to have the meltdown. Okay. He's the same. It happens when he goes to the pool for his aquatic OT and swimming lessons, and to his chiropractor, even though he's been going there so many times, right? When we make the turn into the places where he has to go, that's when he starts to have the meltdown. Okay. So again, it could be a control issue where this is something that he doesn't necessarily have a choice over. So he's not happy about it. So as you're turning in, he's having a meltdown because he doesn't want to engage in that particular activity. If it works for him, so if when he has a meltdown, he doesn't have to go, or you turn around and go home or take him somewhere else, even if that only happens once in a while, he may not be certain that this isn't the time that it's going to work. So I want to make sure you are aware that this is something I don't want to do. And if it works for me once in a while to melt down and get my way, I'm going to try it. So just like I had recommended before, you might, to the woman who I was speaking to before, you might want to try like a little visual schedule as well to let him know what's coming up after he's done with that activity, and try and make it something that's really powerful for him. Reinforcement always has to be proportional to how difficult or non-preferred the activity is. So if he really doesn't want to go to OT or to the chiropractor, then afterwards you have to have a big reinforcer for him. So just say as an example, ice cream is his favorite thing in the world. I would have a little picture schedule for him where I would show a picture of getting in the car, a picture of the chiropractor, and then a picture of Baskin Robbins. And then I would say, we're going to go in the car. We go in the car, we take the picture off, we're going to the chiropractor. I know that you may not like doing this, sweetheart, but as soon as we're done with this, we're going to go get ice cream. Leave the chiropractor, take it off. Look, we're going to Baskin Robbins. You could even show him the picture the whole time he's in the chiropractor or in OT. When we come out of here, this is what you're going to have access to. Again, it might build that predictability for him so that he knows this isn't going to last forever. And I get to do something fun afterwards. And if he's ever been exposed to a timer, that could also be a good way of letting him know you need to do this, but you only need to do it for this amount of time and then it's done. So you can kind of pair that with the visual schedule. So as an example, we're going to go in the car, then we're going to go to OT. I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. And when that timer goes off, well, OT is all done. And then we're going to go to Baskin Robbins, or then we're going to go to the trampoline park, or then we're going to get your iPad, or whatever it is. That's a really powerful, he loves rainbow sherbet. So do I. So whatever it is that he likes should come right after that activity. And like I said, if you can pair like a timer with it, so again, he can predict how long he has to tolerate something that he doesn't like. The timer is also great for teaching someone how long you get to engage in something you do like. That's an open-ended activity, like an iPad or something, listening to music or something that doesn't have a clear beginning and end. So please come back and let me know how that works out. I hope that that's helpful for you. Thank you guys so much for your attendance tonight. It was a pleasure, as always, speaking with you. And I just want to let you know, I will be doing a workshop in May, on May 18th, Thursday, May 18th, on using differential reinforcement of other behavior. So one of the questions that had been posted in the chat box earlier had been a behavioral question, and I had said you might want to use differential reinforcement, either a DRI or a DRO. Well, DRO is exactly what I'm going to be doing our May presentation on. So I really hope that you come and join me for that workshop, and we will talk more about that. Differential reinforcement of other behavior is used to decrease some behavior that you do not want the child to engage in. So some maladaptive behavior like aggression or destructive behavior or yelling and crying, any behavior that you want to get rid of, you can use differential reinforcement of other behavior to get rid of a behavior that you don't want your child to engage in. So please join us on the 18th for that presentation, and please book a call, sign up for our class so I can really get to know you and your child, and we can give you very personalized advice and suggestions. Thank you so much. Book that call. All your questions will be answered there. Like I said, the pricing depends on what you're signing up for. We have the group coaching classes. We have one-on-one accelerator, individualized classes. Book the call, see what you need. You'll get the pricing. It can't hurt to just book the call and ask the questions. We'll answer everything you need to know then. Thank you so, so much.